All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. If you are one of my 23 subscribers, yes, literally 23, thank you for being here. We're on the ground floor of something. Maybe it'll stay the ground floor. Who knows? But if you have any friends in the business world that you love, send this along to them, and then they'll see this video and they'll see me say that you love them, and they'll know that you love them, okay? All right, let's get started. Hey, my name's John Emery. Welcome to What's the Best That Could Happen, where we talk business and brand and leadership. Today's video, we're gonna talk about the 5 most common mistakes we see entrepreneurs and business leaders make when rebranding their business or nonprofit. Buckle up, the 5th one might surprise you. The first one is this: motive. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the motive behind the desire to rebrand is out of whack, and so it almost ensures from the get-go that it's a failure. Rebranding isn't a magic pill or a life raft if the ship is already sinking. A rebrand is essential when an internal shift has already taken place or is in motion. Whether it's a changing industry that you're responding to or some sort of new strategy that you're embracing, something has happened and a new chapter necessitates an external reflection of the internal change. A rebrand isn't a Hail Mary in the 4th quarter. It's going back into the locker room, rewriting the playbook, and updating the uniforms to match. So first things first, check your motives. Mistake number 2 is not fully understanding your audience and how it might have shifted over the years. One of the exhilarating and exhausting aspects of running a business in the year 2023 is how quickly things can change day to day. An audience that might have been loyal to you is now offended by you, or vice versa. Changes can happen very quickly within audience categories. And here's a quick note. Forgive me if you already know this, but it's far more important to pay attention to psychographics rather than demographics. Demographics are meaningless unless they're tethered to something deeper within the psychographics. Psychographics being the study and classification of people according to attitudes and aspirations. I care far less about what your gender or your income bracket is. I care far more about your hopes, your dreams, what you're afraid of, what you find funny, because that's where the gold is. Then we can go beyond the superficial and we can speak to the why behind the why behind the why of what makes your audience tick. Third thing that we see all the time is chasing fads. This is obviously very tempting and it's so seductive, it's almost impossible not to get sucked into, at some point in the process, fad thinking. It happens to us sometimes without even knowing it. So this is why it's so essential for you to work with some sort of professional during the process of your rebrand, whether it's a strategist or designer or a full agency, someone to guide the way through this landmine territory in the world of fads that are here today and gone tomorrow. This typically applies to the naming or renaming of your business and logo design. An experienced brand strategist can hear a name or see a logo and tell you within a few years accuracy when it was done. Again, this is probably the most difficult of the 5 to fully avoid, but find a trusted strategist or agency to guide you through. Last thing you want to do is go through a massive overhaul and a rebrand process only to have it built on the foundation of a fad. Make sure your rebrand's on a low-fat diet. Sorry. Mistake number 4 is failing to communicate clearly the reason for the rebrand. You have an enormous opportunity when you launch a rebrand to tell the story why behind the rebrand. Let the moment hold the weight it deserves. We see big companies spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on rebrands and then launch it and sort of say, hey, new look, same great taste. Or just kind of say, hey, we updated our look, check it out. That sort of thinking appealed to no one ever. This is an opportunity for your leadership to exercise humility, to tell the story of a changing industry and how your company is evolving to stay relevant and stay engaged. Tell the story of the mistakes and the lost revenue and the shifting sands and how this rebrand is an overcoming of this challenge. Invite people into the narrative so that they root for you. This rebrand is a celebration. It's a mark of resilience of your company or nonprofit. You've reinvented yourself. Be proud of that. Tell the story and give the moment the significance it deserves. And last but not least, mistake number 5 is either underinvesting or overinvesting in the rebrand. I'm in charge of sales at our agency, and I talk to 4 or 5 business leaders every week about rebranding, and the conversation around budget always comes up. They always say, well, what should this cost, or what will this cost, or whatever. And I always answer their question with a question saying, what's a responsible budget for you? The word is responsible, knowing what you know about your business. I don't know your business, but knowing what you know about your business, where revenue is and what the trajectories are and profit margins and all of that, what is a responsible budget to invest in a rebrand today? Because there's this ever-present threat of either underinvesting or overinvesting in something like this. If you're a decent-sized company and you're talking to big city agencies, chances are they're gonna try to sell you on $1 million rebrand. And based on the size of your company, maybe that's like water under the bridge, whatever, sure. There's not a ton of risk, let's just go for it. On the other hand, if you're a small business, 25 grand might be all you ever need for an enormous, thorough, complex rebrand process. But for both scenarios, there's this threat that you come up with a sort of half-baked attempt because you hunted for a bargain and you pinched pennies. Or you threw way too much money at it and you end up with this bloated project with a dozen deliverables you'll never actually use. This one really is about wisdom and finding a trusted partner to talk through the numbers with. I know agencies that charge way too much money and take advantage of people, and I know agencies that way undercharge and aren't thorough enough. The word is responsible. What's a responsible budget for you? So there you have it, the 5 biggest mistakes when rebranding your company. We learned this a decade in, launching 50 new companies every year. Try your best to avoid these. Rebranding isn't for the faint of heart, so stay inspired, stay encouraged, stay focused, and lean into free resources like this to help save time and energy and heartache. If this was in any way helpful, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe for business and brand and leadership. It's literally free. Now go do something with it. What's the best that could happen?